Hi, welcome back to the Calm Place. This week's episode is called Energy Sovereignty Protecting Your System in a Busy World. Energy is the currency we spend every moment, and most of us are spending it on autopilot. Today, we'll explore how to recognize what drains you, what restores you, and how to create personal systems to let you move through life with clarity, not chaos. We live in a world that prizes output over input, action over rest, and reaction over reflection. Most advice is about doing more work, more habits, more optimization. But energy isn't just about what you do, it's about what you let in, what you let out, and how your system balances itself. This episode is about energy sovereignty, learning to manage your internal resources with the same care you manage money, but far more intimately. It's about recognizing your signals, tuning your nervous system, and designing micro practices that protect and expand your capacity. What energy sovereignty really means. Energy sovereignty isn't about shutting down, it isn't about isolating or being rigid, it's about awareness, noticing what drains or restores you, boundaries, saying yes and no without guilt, and rhythms, designing life around natural cycles, not cultural expectations. When you're sovereign over your energy, you can move through social, professional, and creative spaces without losing yourself. You respond instead of react. And here's the catch. Most people think they're sovereign, but their energy is fragmented, scattered by phones, notifications, obligations, and internal chatter. We'll explore strategies for recognizing fragmentation and reclaiming your system's authority. Recognizing subtle energy leaks. Not all drains are obvious. Many are hidden in thought patterns like rumination, anxiety loops, and guilt. Sensory inputs like over bright lights, background noise, constant screen scrolling. Relationships, subtle emotional labor, and people pleasing, and internal expectations like the pressure to be productive or visible. Even micro drains compound over weeks and months, leaving your system depleted without you realizing why. An exercise you can do to take mental inventory is notice 3 micro drains you encountered in the last 24 hours. They can be as simple as checking your messages repeatedly, feeling guilty for resting, or listening to something negative. This simple awareness is the first step towards sovereignty. Micro practices to reclaim energy. Just like we layered rest in previous episodes, energy work benefits from small, intentional interventions throughout the day. Some examples are micro breaths, 1 to 3 minutes of slow, intentional breathing before meals or meetings, sensory resets, closing your eyes, softening your lights, or a short walk to recalibrate. Reflective pauses, journaling one insight from the day or a subtle feeling you noticed. And creative micro practices like 5 minutes of movement, doodling, or sound. Not for production, just for presence. These aren't tasks, they're system checks. They allow you to notice depletion early before it becomes burnout. The nervous system as your guide. Your nervous system is always talking. It's subtle, often overlooked. Tight shoulders, jaw tension or shallow breathing, irritability or hypervigilance, restlessness or difficulty focusing. When you notice these signals as informational and not bad, you gain choice. You can respond with rest, micro practices, or adjustments. You can observe them without judgment, and you can shift your environment if needed. This is the essence of energy sovereignty. Listen to your body first and culture second. At this point, we've set up the framework for this episode, but the full transformational power comes when we dive deeper into types of energy management. We're going to explore creativity, rest, and nervous system regulation. I'll give you some micro practices for integration, and then I'll connect it with previous lessons we've learned about layering rest and expanding our capacity. Understanding your energy patterns and natural rhythms. So far, we've established that energy sovereignty isn't about doing more or less, it's about awareness, choice, and system alignment. Now we're going to explore how your energy flows naturally, how to work with it instead of against it, and how small practices help you maintain your authority over your own system. Energy isn't uniform. Think of energy like a river. Some days it's full, fast, and expansive, but other days it's slow, shallow, and needs careful navigation. Ignoring these flows leads to frustration, stress, and burnout. Listening to them is like learning the river's currents instead of constantly trying to paddle upstream. In high energy periods, they're ideal for deep work, creative output, and problem solving, but in low energy periods, it's ideal to rest, reflect, create micro practices, or do minor administrative tasks. The key is not forcing productivity during your low energy times and not wasting your high energy periods on tasks that don't need that. Identifying your personal energy patterns. Energy isn't just a daily thing. It has weekly, monthly, and seasonal rhythms. Daily rhythms. Most people have natural peaks and troughs. For example, some are alert mid-morning, but others can peak late at night. Weekly rhythms. Certain days tend to feel heavier or lighter, like Monday can bring you fatigue. You can have midweek momentum or a weekend wind down. System rhythms. Even subtle changes in daylight or weather can affect your energy and your mood. So an exercise you can do is to track your energy for 1 week. Morning, afternoon, evening, rate your energy 1 to 5. You can take a mental note of that. You can note your emotional tone and your clarity of thought, and you can observe patterns to plan your work and rest according to your natural peaks. This awareness alone prevents energy leaks where you ignore patterns. When you ignore patterns, your system pays you with depletion. Micro rhythms throughout the day. Even within high energy periods, there are microcycles. 60 to 90 minutes of focus followed by natural dips. You can use this to your advantage and use 60 to 90 minute focus blocks where you do deep work, creative output, or intense problem solving, and then take 10 to 15 minutes of micro breaks or micro rests where you can stretch, you can breathe, you can doodle, or you can just observe your sensations. An observation you can take is noticing any tension in your body or wandering thoughts. These are signals that your nervous system needs a micro rest or a micro reset. Your nervous system doesn't respond to hustling longer, it responds to timely alignment. The role of environmental energy. Not all drains come from within. Your environment heavily influences your nervous system. Visual clutter can create subtle stress and constant micro decisions. Auditory input, the things that you hear, can be overstimulating or distracting. Social presence can siphon your energy or create subtle emotional labor, and digital interferences can fragment your attention. Some micro practices for environmental sovereignty is 1, to clear a small area on your desk or in your room each day. You can also use noise canceling headphones or calming sounds for micro rests. You can pause before responding to messages and notice your emotional shifts. And you can add natural elements into your environment like sunlight, plants, or soft textures. Even subtle adjustments can protect your capacity without doing extra work. Energy debt and recovery. Here's a concept rarely discussed: energy debt. If you constantly spend energy without restoration, you incur debt. Interest compounds in the form of fatigue that sticks longer than usual, emotional irritability or numbness, creative blocks, and mental fuzziness. The antidote isn't just rest, it's strategic, multi-layered recovery, integrated daily. Some micro practices you can do for recovery are 5 to 10 minutes of sensory or creative resets after work, brief emotional reflections like noting one feeling and letting it pass by, short walks or any short movement to release some tension, and some micro breathing exercises to regulate your nervous system. Integrating art and rest into energy sovereignty. Remember in episode 7, creative micro practices aren't optional. They directly restore your nervous system and expand your capacity. Some examples are free drawing while listening to some nice music, singing softly, moving or dancing for 10 minutes, writing a single sentence about your day or just an idea, getting it out on paper. Even micro practices compound over weeks. They rewire your nervous system to naturally maintain energy instead of constantly depleting it. This is low effort, high impact restoration, the foundation of sovereignty. So next I'm going to talk about some more advanced micro practices, how to build some energy armor without rigidity, and how to spot invisible drains in social, digital, and emotional spaces. So I'm going to give you some daily micro practices and energy armor. We've explored your natural rhythms, the invisible energy leaks, and the role of your environment. Now we're going to get more practical, how to take intentional action without over effort, creating what I like to call energy armor. It's not rigidity, but it's subtle layers of protection and restoration. What is energy armor? Energy armor isn't about building walls, it's about gentle structures and habits that keep your system resilient. It's made of awareness, noticing subtle fatigue signals, boundaries, saying yes or no without guilt, micro practices, tiny intentional resets woven into your day, and environmental tweaks, light, sound, clutter, and social adjustments. Think of it as wearing a light, flexible shield. You stay open and present, but you don't get drained by everything around you. Morning micro practices for energy sovereignty. Start the day aligned, not reactive. You can do 2 to 3 minutes of conscious breathing, inhaling gently, filling your ribs, and exhaling slowly. Notice tight areas in your body releasing. A micro reflection, an example of what you can ask is, what do I need today? Do I need focus, rest, creativity, connection? And an environmental check. You can clear a tiny area, adjust the lighting, or open a window to create natural flow. These 5 to 10 minutes set the tone for your day and let you move through your tasks with clarity rather than autopilot exhaustion. A midday reset. Energy dips happen naturally. Your nervous system signals you're approaching a micro dip. You can use subtle pauses like a 3 to 5 minute sensory pause where you close your eyes, notice the sounds around you, and shift your posture. A 5-minute creative practice like doodling, humming, tapping, stretching, and digital hygiene. You can glance at your notifications only once every 30 to 60 minutes to reduce micro drains to your energy. Even small actions prevent afternoon crashes without taking a full hour off whatever you're working on. Social and emotional energy armor. People can be subtle energy drains. It's not about avoiding connection, it's about smart engagement. So some strategies, you can set soft boundaries like saying, I need a short break instead of over-explaining. You can scan for energy feedback. Notice when you feel lighter or heavier after interactions. And you can practice intentional micro connections like short, meaningful check-ins instead of long, low-value social exposure. Your emotional energy is currency. It's not infinite, and you should treat it with respect. Evening integration, reclaiming capacity. As the day ends, integrate and reset. This is time for longer, like 5 to 10 minute reflective journaling. You can note 1 to 2 successes you loved about today, 1 subtle tension, 1 area you want to restore tomorrow. You can do some creative decompression like gentle art, music, or movement to release the accumulated tension from the day. You can do a 2 to 3 minute body scan, noticing your tight areas, breathing into them, and consciously releasing the tension. And you can prep for sleep, like dimming your lights, reducing your screen time, and also playing calming soundscapes. These practices aren't about doing more, they're converting residual energy leaks into restoration and helping you get ready for tomorrow. Spotting invisible drains. Even with those micro practices, some drains are invisible. You can watch out for digital ghosts, automatic scrolling, notifications, mental clutter from apps, emotional residue like lingering feelings from interactions that aren't fully processed, physical tightness like subtle tension in your jaw, shoulders, and lower back, and creativity blocks like feeling off without knowing why. When you notice these, apply targeted micro practices like brief sensory resets, short creative flows, or movement. The key is not ignoring subtle signals because small, consistent leaks compound over time. Layering practices without overwhelm. The secret isn't doing everything, it's strategic layering. One micro practice per energy domain per day. One check-in per rhythm in the morning, midday, and evening, and occasional deeper practices on low energy days or on weekends. Think about building layers of light protection, not a rigid schedule. Over time, this creates systemic energy expansion, not fatigue. In episode 7, we emphasize the types of rest and creative micro practices. Here we're integrating them with energy sovereignty. So we have art and creative micro practices, not extra tasks on your list. They're just system recalibration. We have rest types. They're your daily armor pieces, your physical, mental, emotional, sensory, social, and creative rest. And your awareness plus these micro practices mean you're living in your system. You're not running on autopilot. Now I'm going to go deeper into energy sovereignty in social and digital spaces. We're going to discuss long-term nervous system expansion and how to personalize a daily energy blueprint without having rigid rules. We've explored natural rhythms, micro practices, and energy armor. Now we'll expand into social and digital spaces, long-term nervous system expansion, and how to personalize your energy management so it becomes effortless, not a chore. Navigating social energy without depletion. Social interaction is unavoidable, but your system can thrive if you approach it intentionally. Key principles. Observation first. Notice subtle shifts in mood or energy during all of your interactions. Intentional engagement. Consciously choose how much to invest. Not avoidance, just calibration. And exit micro practices. Brief resets between interactions like deep breaths, small walks, or sensory pauses. Micro strategies, anchor phrases. You can silently tell yourself, I'm here, I choose this energy. Environmental cues. Pick spaces with lighting, sound, and seating that support calmness. And post-social release. You can journal 1 to 2 sentences about what felt heavy or light about your interactions. It's not about isolation, it's just smart navigation of energy exchanges with those around us. Digital sovereignty, protecting your attention and energy. Digital input is one of the most subtle yet consistent energy drains today. Signs you're being drained digitally are automatic scrolling without awareness, feeling anxious or irritable after social media use, and inability to focus on tasks after brief usage. Some digital micro practices are scheduled check-ins, only scrolling at predetermined times, notifications auditing like disabling non-essential pings, mindful consumption. Observe your reactions. Ask, is this energizing or depleting? And micro resets, 1 to 3 minutes of closing your eyes, taking deep breaths, or taking a short walk. The goal isn't avoidance, it's intentional interaction, making your digital tools serve you instead of siphoning your energy. Long-term nervous system expansion. Repeated micro practices do more than just protect you, they expand your nervous system's capacity. What this looks like over time is better tolerance for stimulation, stronger presence in social and creative spaces, faster recovery from micro drains, and greater clarity, focus, and intuition. Advanced integration strategies include energy mapping, so you can track your drains and rest creatively in a notebook or a digital log. Weekly reflections, note your patterns, victories, and low energy triggers. And adaptive planning, shift your tasks, creativity, and rest according to your natural flow. This approach is prevention and expansion. It's not reactive burnout management. Designing your personalized daily energy blueprint. Your blueprint is a flexible map, not a rigid schedule. So step 1, map your rhythms. Note your morning, midday, and evening energy levels, your peak creative windows, and your social interaction tolerance. Step 2 is assign micro practices. So assign physical resets, stretching and brief walks, mental resets like breathing or sensory pauses, emotional resets like journaling or self-compassion, creative resets like doodling, humming, or moving. Step 3 is environmental alignment, workspace lighting, sound and clutter, social environment tuning, and digital environment management. And step 4 is reflection and iteration. So you can have a 3 to 5 minute end of day reflection, a weekly pattern review, for example, identifying the trends and micro drains you've experienced, and adjusting next week based on the data, not based on guilt. The blueprint evolves with your life. It's a living system, like having a map while exploring the city. You adjust your routes, but you always know where you are and where you want to go. So your micro practices and your awareness are your energy sovereignty in action. Creative and rest practices are non-negotiable foundations. Social, digital, and environmental strategies prevent hidden depletion, and personalized blueprints ensure long-term nervous system expansion without overworking. Remember, sovereignty isn't about perfection, it's about consistent, gentle practices. Noticing patterns, responding intentionally, and building capacity over time. Lastly, I'm going to explore energy sovereignty in unpredictable situations, how to handle sudden drains or stress spikes, and real-life application strategies to make sovereignty second nature. Okay, unpredictable drains, real-life application and integration. So far we've covered natural energy rhythms, micro practices for morning, midday, and evening, energy armor for social, emotional, and digital spaces, nervous system expansion, and personalized daily blueprints. Now we're going to tackle life's unpredictability, the moments that disrupt the best laid plans, and how to respond without losing your sovereignty. Unexpected energy drains are normal. Even with the perfect awareness, the world throws unexpected challenges. Sudden emotional stress from relationships, unexpected demands at work or home, sensory overload from environments outside of your control. These events are normal, not failures. The key is having systems in place to absorb and recover quickly. Some micro practices for unpredictability are pausing and observing. Even 30 seconds of noticing the body and breath reduces reactivity. A mini reset toolkit. Keep a go-to set of micro practices ready. Whatever works for you: breathing, stretching, doodling, listening to calming sounds. An anchor mantra, a short phrase like "this is temporary, I choose my response," stabilizes your emotional energy. And reflect and release. End the day with a quick journaling or body scan routine to process your residual tension from the day. These small, consistent responses allow energy sovereignty to hold even in chaos. Energy sovereignty in creative work. This is where creativity and restoration intersect. Even micro-artistic practices like doodling, music, or movement are powerful for releasing accumulated tension, resetting your nervous system, and expanding capacity for focus and insight. Some practical daily applications. In the morning, you can set intention, practice gentle movement, micro reflection, and environmental tuning. In the middle of the day, you can observe your energy, apply 2 to 3 micro resets, and adjust your social and digital exposure. And in the evening, you can reflect, release, creatively decompress, and prep for the next day. Weekly, you can do energy mapping, note trends you've noticed, adjust your blueprints, and plan deep recovery sessions. And if you want to, monthly, you can assess the progress, incorporate new creative micro practices, test environmental tweaks, and evaluate what truly restores versus drains you. Energy sovereignty doesn't exist in isolation. In episode 5, we've talked about recognizing fatigue, cultural timelines, and nervous system signals. In the last episode, we talked about different types of rest, creativity, and micro practices. And here we're putting it all together in a personalized energy system. The flow is cumulative. Each layer builds capacity, awareness, and resilience. The key takeaways are energy sovereignty equals awareness and micro practices and environmental tuning. Micro resets prevent hidden drains, and it makes recovery effortless. Creative micro practices are restorative, they're not optional. And blueprints evolve. Flexibility is strength, not weakness. Unpredictable events don't break you, they reveal how strong your systems are. Integration is daily, layered, and intentional. Some practical challenges you can do for the next week are tracking your energy throughout the morning, midday, and evening, applying at least one micro practice per energy domain per day, mind, body, emotions, and creativity, observing how your small interventions change your reactivity, clarity, and capacity throughout the day, and try a creative micro practice daily, even 5 minutes, and notice its impact on your energy. By the end of the week, the difference in your system awareness and energy flow will be tangible, even if it's only subtle. Energy sovereignty isn't about control or perfection, it's about coherent alignment, responding instead of reacting, recognizing subtle drains before they compound, treating creative micro practices, rest, and reflection as foundational tools, and having a living blueprint for your unique system. When you apply these principles consistently, life feels less like running on empty and more like flowing with your own internal current, even when the world is unpredictable. Love you. Talk to you soon.